Chairman, I want to talk about what I brought up here yesterday. After weeks of effort, we finally found out the situation with Mr. Ibarra, who's facing charges for murder in Georgia. So this man is a case study of what's wrong with our immigration system. And in terms of legislation, you don't need any legislation to fix the problem related to Mr. Ibarra. He was apprehended in September 2022. He lived in Venezuela, then he went to Ecuador illegally, resided there. He came across the U.S. border. We got a hold of him. We apprehended him, and he was paroled. And why was he paroled? Lack of detention capacity. The law is clear. You cannot parole someone because you don't have space. The only way you're allowed to be paroled in the United States is to meet two criteria of a statute. Where's the stuff about, you have my testimony with examination of Mayorkas? I brought this up in November. Mayorkas was appearing for the Appropriations Committee. And he said yesterday he didn't know why Mr. Ibarra was paroled. It's in your own file. How could you testify before the country? You didn't know how the guy got into the country when at the literally almost the same moment, I'm giving you a document that said he was admitted into the country because lack of capacity in El Paso. So the bottom line here is when I asked him in February about whether or not you're letting people into the country violating the statute, he says, do you do a case-by-case analysis? Senator, we comply with the law. So there's a file for all 240,000 where somebody determined they must meet these two criteria, urgent humanitarian need or significant public benefit. There's an individual determination made, Mayorkas, on all 220,000, and I can see that. Yes, sir. There was no individual analysis done by the man charged with killing Laken Riley. Nobody determined whether or not he has a unique benefit to our country or that he's suffering from a humanitarian crisis in his family or with some loved one, allowing him to be paroled. He was paroled because we didn't have any place to put him. And he wound up committing a crime in New York, and now he's charged with murder. If this is not Exhibit A of a broken immigration system, what would be? And the day that I give this committee why he was paroled from his own file, the same day the Homeland Security Secretary testifies that he doesn't know why he was paroled. We're going to have an impeachment trial of Mayorkas, in theory, but not in practice. We're not going to get any of this information. I would like to be able to tell the public that when he talked to me in November, Mr. Mayorkas, about the system, that what he said's not true. He was saying there was an individual analysis consistent with the law. The law does not allow parole because you don't have a place to put somebody. We're not going to have that trial because you don't want to hear about why he was impeached. You don't want to have a discussion as to whether or not he has broken his duty to protect America. So all I can say, this is not going away. The trial may go away. You may deep six this thing in about 3 hours, but the issue's not going to go away. We're going to tell the American people until we run out of breath that the system in place is broken. It leads to results like in Georgia, and it needs to stop. And the person who created the problem is Joe Biden. He's the person who needs to fix it. And finally, as to parole, this system is supposed to be an individual case-by-case analysis. During the Trump-Biden years of their presidency, on average, 5,400 people were paroled in the United States, meeting those two criteria. Last year alone, it was almost 800,000 paroled by the Biden administration. Blanket parole, no individual analysis. So when Mayorkas testified in November, what he said is not true. And this is Exhibit A. Thank you.